Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning, 10:15. Almost as scheduled. Had 3 false starts for some reason. A little adjustment in the program, or the engineering, or Epidemic Sound Instrumental. I've downloaded it so that instead of using the bandwidth of my internet connection to play the audio that you're hearing in the background, which I'm trying to, that's it. I'm trying to calm it down a little bit. As they say, I can't hear myself think. Plus, I had a few items checked off on the streaming menu. You know, you get a little fidgety, you start looking at everything. And I checked this and checked that, and I checked a couple of check boxes that I shouldn't have checked. I need a high, I don't know. Facebook gets a little flaky when you start spooling up a high quality mode, a higher video bit rate, as they say. So I unchecked those boxes one by one. It took me 4 times to get started here, and here we are, and we are live with our simulcast of whoops, Facebook just stopped because of an error. It may restart. We're going to continue on YouTube and Facebook. You know that it may come back, or it may just be gone. But the internet connection. Let's check that just for the heck of it. Speed test. Let's do a little speed test. And there it goes. Ooh, the download speed is, generally always good. We are using different computing equipment, though. Ooh, the upload speed is 48, 49, 49, 48, 50, going for 50, going for 50.0 bits per second upload. See, that's what we need. We need upload speed because we're considered content creators, as they say in the business, which I know very little about. But we do have, I must say, we've got very, very good, high-quality equipment. This MacBook Pro, the Air version, MacBook Air, which means there are no fans and blower. The MacBook is nice. It has a 14-inch screen and a 16-inch screen. And there's some internal engineering differences. They use the same processor generally, but they have fans in there, with external ports for fan, for dissipation of heat. And, the microphones pick up the fan noise. I mean, it's not that bad, but you can hear it. When you're in I hate to use this word because it's kind of, this is like a closet. It's not a studio. It's a small closet, by the way. Yeah, we're just, our studio is basically a 60-inch table by 48-inch table, 6 foot by 4 foot. I put some blue tape. I put this blue tape. You hear that? Let me roll it back up. Oh my God. What have I done? Okay. This is blue masking tape, which you see all the time with You know, whenever UPS tapes something, they tape it up with this blue tape. Anyway, so I have a roll of blue tape. It's for painters. You stretch it out and then you can paint over it, so you have a perfectly straight line if you're trying to paint a straight line. I'm not painting, but anyway. I put this blue tape all the way down longitudinally on this table. That makes a 6 foot by 24 inch. I've got 24 inches on this side. Marilyn's got 24 inches on the other side. So I have this array, all this stuff. Basically, 4 or 5 old iPads, which I'm using. This one I'm using, you can see up here, 6 minutes, 24 seconds, 25, 26. That's an elapsed timer. That tells us how long I've been chatting here. Stop playing with the boom. Leave the boom alone. See right here, this is the time. The time of day is 10:22:01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07. Yeah. There we go. Not too complicated. Look at that. SM7B. Yeah, my Rodecaster Pro actually has a microphone position for the SM7B, which is this microphone that you can hear me. Testing, 1, 2, 3, yes. There we go. So I'm going to add. Now the producer has to swap the cameras. Now we swap the cameras because we want to be on this side. We always want to be on the right side, just the right side of metal. Yeah. There's my Tesla car key, which is basically a credit card, which I have sandwiched up here with my little piece of money and my ID. Officer, here's my driver's license. Officer, here is my concealed weapons license. You can duck at any time. Bang, bang. Yeah, no. No, we don't do that. Let me turn the lights down a little bit. It looks a little bright in here. There we go. So, this is Saturday. It's December 6th. Here we are. This is a Star Broadcasting Company. We are downtown Boca Raton, 8 stories above Chops. Have you lost or stolen your iPhone? It can be found even if it's turned off. Find My. So you basically you hit your settings. I'm going to do it right here on the iPad. So you hit your settings wheel, right? Do we know what that is? Let's try it again. You see in the very lower corner here, there's that geary looking thing, gray. So that's your settings. Most everybody knows what that is, right? I can show you here. There you go. See the gear? This guy right here? Yeah, oops. We don't want to... Let's stop the jiggles. No more jiggles. There we go. Watch. So you see the gear? I have it here so that you can see me touching it. It's in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And you just touch this, just touch it, bingo. Now we've opened the settings. See gear, general, manage your overall setup. Yeah. Let's hit the About button just for a little sidebar. Hit the About button, and we can see that this is a iPad Pro 13-inch with an M5 chip. That is the highest level of processing speed that Apple presently manufactures. Period, may I say. And let's see. We've got 2 terabytes of storage and 1.35 terabytes available. That's a good thing. So we have in the name, notice the name is a long name. It says Jim W's 13-inch, then is an apple, a red apple, iPad Pro 2025 M5. And then there is the serial number and the digital line number 8667070. That's my digital access number for AT&T. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna hit the arrow going back. There we go to general. Now, we're still in settings. You see where my name is? Just what we're going to do now here is we are going to make sure this iPad is turned on in such a way that even if it's turned off, we can foil the theft because we can still find it with another Apple device. All right, so the way we make sure that that can happen is, you see where it says Jim Wilson? Just touch that in the very top. Touch Jim Wilson, or your name. You see, you touch that, and what happens? This new menu shows up, and I'm jiggling it a little bit, and you see the green icon that says Find My. Follow your finger over to that caret. Touch the caret. All right. You see in the very top, it says Find My iPad. Touch the caret. It's on, but I just want you to touch the caret anyway. Find My iPad. Locate, lock, erase this device and supported accessories. This device cannot be erased or reactivated without your password. So you want to make sure that is green. It's a switch. You can turn it on or turn it off. Oops. Deactivate theft and loss. No, we're going to cancel that. Yeah, it took a while for that to pop up. Yeah, we don't want to deactivate. So when you click it for the first time, it's going to say, do you want to activate it? And the answer is yes. Find My network. And what this means is participating in the Find My network lets you locate this iPad even when it's offline. We want that checked. And send to you, it's going to send to you the last location. So if it's laying around somewhere because you forgot it and someone swept it up and put it in the trash, and when the battery runs out, whoosh, the device is automatically going to send you its actual location data before it goes, before the battery runs completely dead. So that's all in that caret. You want all three of those things checked. Okay? And that way, even if the bad guy or the bad girl turns it off, we can still find it. Yeah. It works. So we've done that now with the iPad, And you can do it with the iPhone. I'm being a wise guy with the shoulder pads. There we go. So with the iPhone, the same trick. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to hit the settings. It happens to be buried in there. And I'm going to touch Jim Wilson, and I'm going to scroll down to Find My, touch the caret. Find My phone is on, and there it is, it's on. Find My network and send last location. All three of those are on. And that way, even if your device is stolen, and even if it's powered off, we can find it. And it works. As an actual case, I mean, honest to goodness, I would never tell you anything that wasn't true, but just in case. Anyway, so here's a screen that shows you the Find My and the caret. And then over here, Find My, and you want it on. So you can play this back, or, yeah. These broadcasts, I have over 500 of them, actually, have been listened to, viewed over 50,000 times. 50,000! I mean, to me, that's just like mind-boggling. Yeah, chit-chat here up in Boca Raton. Yeah, talking about whatever the heck. I like to have a little content that's memorable. So here's how you turn on your settings so that even if the device is lost or stolen or forgotten, that happens, you left it in the hotel room and they put it in lost and found. Because they can't open it, so they don't know who the hell's phone it is, right? They know it came out of, room. Then they send you a message in the mail, and you never got it. You can find your phone even if it's turned off. And for sure, because you may have turned it off, right? And left it in the hotel between the sheets, as they say. And then you leave the hotel, you drive home, you get in an airplane, and where's my phone? Ooh, or my iPad. Yeah, you want to do it with your Apple devices. And they can be located even if they're turned off. Because you might have left it off and misplaced it. Well, you can find it because you get another Apple device and you go find it with the other Apple device. And you put in your login and your password and you look for your phone. I had an actual example of this with my son Lee up in Virginia. He stopped at something like a donut shop somewhere on not an interstate highway, but like a state road 60 or something. I forget what road it was. So he was in this donut shop. He sat down with a cup of coffee and a couple of donuts, and he had his phone, on the small table that he was sitting at, and he just turned around and looked over this way, and when he turned back, the phone was gone. He's looking around, where the hell? Someone swiped it right off his table. They just walked right by and swiped it. He grabbed it. And then apparently that person got in his car. It was a he. And he drove off. So So Lee calls me on the phone. He says, "Dad, someone just walked off with my phone. Can you find it?" So I opened up the app, Find My app for his, looking for his phone, and because I could just open up the messenger thing and click on Lee. I can do it right now. And you see, it says up on the top here, Lee, Richmond, Virginia. I can tap that carefully. Touch that. Let's see. Oh, here it is. I was looking on the wrong side. There it is. We can see exactly where he is. He's sharing his location. I can click stop sharing my location, which I'm not going to do. So he can see where I am, and I can see where he is. And his home, his work, and where he is right now. And right now we can click on that map, and he is right there. And you can see it's green. Can you notice that green pulsing? And it's moving a little bit. He's walking. He's still walking. He's walking around inside this, or the parking lot. There he is. Yep. There we go. It's almost like a little 3D. He's out in he's walking around outside Brook Valley, West Duval Street. Yeah, it says live. And you can see it's 613 Jackson Ward, Richmond, Virginia. 613 Brook Road. Yeah. So, I actually did a print screen of this and sent it back to his iPad, and then he drove down to the police station and he said, "Hey, there's my phone." It's going like 60 miles an hour up road 60. Can you believe it? Yeah, they found it, they got it, they recovered his phone. Some guys stole it, they handcuffed him. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's a lesson learned. Do not steal an Apple product, because even if you have them turned off, they can find it. So, and you can, if it's locked, you should also have checked the box on your. Let's see, where is locks? Let's just type in the search. On the top here. I'm still in the search. Locks. LOCK. Lock and unlock. Locks, swipes, auto lock. Do. The lock screen. That's not what we want. Well, when you set up your phone, let's see if I can find where that is. Here, I'm looking. Uh-huh. There you go. Here's the lock and the unlock. Let's quick auto lock. So I have it auto locking in 15 minutes. Now you can have it 2 minutes, 5, 10, 15, or never auto lock. Let's change it to 10 minutes. What the heck? Since we're here. So if I don't diddle with this device for 10 minutes, it's going to lock up. And then I have to unlock it. Which is no big deal. You just type in your password. Well, when you type in your password, there's a box that you check that says on the 11th, if you miss it 11 times, the whole iPhone or iPad erases itself. So when people try to steal your phone, if a soul stole your iPad or your iPhone, they're going to try to unlock it, open it up so they can use it, erase your stuff and put on their stuff. But they have to have the password. But they don't have the password. So they're going to guess the password. Hopefully your password isn't password. Can you believe the Democratic National Committee to open up their servers and look at everybody in the Democratic Party? The password was password. How stupid is that? I mean, your membership is that dumb, you can't communicate some kind of a password that has some modicum of difficulty. But don't put in password as the password. No. Totally stupid. But anyway, so someone guesses your password. Someone tries to guess your password. They do it again and again and again. Well, they only have 10 tries. On the 11th try, the entire device self-destructs. Actually, it locks up, and all your data, your phone numbers, your bank accounts, your everything you got on your iPhone gets totally erased. Yeah. There are lots of cases, just like in New York State alone. There are like over 100 cases right now of people that are being charged with misdemeanors. They have the phones, and it could be, stuff like terrorist people. And they have the terrorist phone in their hand. But they can't see what's inside it because the phone is locked. And listen to this, with fingerprint ID, they can't cut off your finger and use your finger because the fingerprint reader can tell if there's any blood streaming through the finger. This is true. In other words, so you see in the movies they cut off the finger and then they use that to unlock, the vault. Well, if they have the same technology if the vault people have the same technology that Apple has invented, a finger that has been removed from the body of the owner will not unlock the device. No. Because there's no blood flow. The fingerprint has changed. It knows that the finger is dead, so to speak. It is not attached to the body. or they can't drag the dead body over and put the finger in the biometric reader. No, it doesn't work. Same thing with the face recognition. If you're a dead body and they hold the iPhone up to your face and try to prop open your eyes, won't work. No, it will not unlock the device. The facial recognition will fail. So there's no sense in dragging your dead body up into the what do you call it, the ATM thing for facial recognition. Yeah, just stand up here, sir. You got him propped up and leaning out his belly up against the ATM, and you're trying to, and you're working the machine with your arms around him, around. No, that's only in the movies. Apple is smarter than that. Apple will not permit that, I can tell you. There has been some episodes of the security feature. Red Hat, Black Hat, organizations that deal in cryptology and, all this cyber crime and just digital crime, because the old mechanical lock and key is not the way, the key, pretty soon I happen to have a couple of keys. You can hear them right there. And my glorious SM7B. That's it, SM7B microphone. And my Epidemic Sound instrumental, which is downloaded now onto my system. So instead of, logging into YouTube Music, finding the song, I just downloaded it into my system. And it says, oh yeah, we know Jimmy. He's a YouTube commercial client. So he has access to our music. Yeah, let him download the song. And it's copyright free. Now, I wouldn't, hack into it and change the music in any way whatsoever. No. But it is actually playing now from the download instead of from the internet. So that's freeing up a little bit of bandwidth so that, the router switches, the usage. There are like 20 or 30 devices connected to the router. Now, they're not all pumping or sucking data, downloading data. Whether you're uploading or downloading, the internet traffic is metered, and there's only so much bit rate. There's only so many bits, 8 bits in a byte. There's so many bytes, that the up and the down can handle it at the same instant. So the router keeps on switching between all these devices depending on what the current need is. Now, since I'm content creating, most of the bit rate that I'm dealing with is going up. It's a long story on that too, but I won't get into it. Because all the bytes that get sent through the internet, they're not, just think of them as a bunch of people holding hands. And they're all holding hands between here and New York. A whole bunch of people, thousands, tens and thousands of people. They're all hand in hand and they're all stretched out between here and Chicago. Let's just say that. Now, if someone would break their hands loose, like in Tennessee, the fellow in Tennessee that's supposed to be holding the girl's hand in front of him and the boy's hand behind him, he breaks loose of them and runs in to go to the bathroom. And he's a bite. He's one of the bites. We got 100,000 bites. Each of them have hands. And they stretch out their hands. And they hold the hand of that one, and they hold the hand of that one. Now this guy had to go to the bathroom. So he dropped loose. He broke the chain, so to speak. Well, in the world of bits and bytes and internet and so forth, no problem. Because when you let go, the system remembered the hand that you let go. Because the left hand was with the right hand, and that right hand was with the other person's left hand. And it leaves an address of where it can pick up that hand again. Yeah. So that when all these bits and bytes go through the pipe and end up in your yard, all those broken links get reattached, so to speak, on the way. But if it was really, really, really slow, it would reattach itself when everybody got on board where they landed, where they were supposed to be at 6 p.m. or something. Yeah. So the internet with the packet system can really keep track of all this data and all the encryption and all that. Remember, there are billions, trillions of dollars every week that are transmitted through the internet very safely. You don't hear about hackers getting into the Fed wire system where they're going to take billions of dollars. They would have tried and failed a number of attempts. You can hear, I can hear the bottom edge of that little baby. So you got all the bits and bytes, and it keeps track of it. Even if the chain is broken, it knows the address where it broke off, and it knows the address on how to connect it back. The hand that it let loose of. And so it does it on both sides. So, all the packets, essentially all serially numbered and in sequence. And just because one is out of order, one item, one piece, it'll go back and find that in one spot and it rains again. All right. What else we got going here? Let's go to our little picture file. So that was an important thing. Your lost or stolen iPhone can be found if you can just turn on those settings. It's going to recommend you do that. When you get a new iPhone or an iPad, shoulder moped. It invites you to turn those settings on appropriately when you first get it, buy it, or whatever. Yeah. So here's a picture of a candle. It's like in a stainless steel mug thing. It's about this big around. So you wonder why there's a lit candle there. It's because Robin sent us, a box of things, for Christmas. I don't know. You go shopping with this. She's a 50-year-old daughter, right? She just picks stuff up and throws it in the. She like vacuums up everything out of the store, puts it in her car, and just buys everything she can get her hands on. Well, one of these things was a candle, and it had a little thing covering up the wick part and so forth. Nice smelling candle, handmade. Pour the wax inside this stainless steel mug thing without a handle, and they're scratching around there. Where the hell's the wick? There is no wick. It's unbelievable. So you got this big stainless steel thing that weighs like 2 pounds. It's got wax in it and everything. No, there's no wick. What the hell? So I said, Marilyn, go find some wicks on the internet. Amazon, of course. So she buys a little wick kit. Yeah, for like, $11.88 or something or other. What size wicks you want? 4-inch? I said, no, get them 6-inch. Yeah, just get them a little longer. We can always cut them back, but you can't go to the wick stretcher. So it's better to have a little too long and cut it off than a little too short, because you can't stretch them. Anyway, so I said, Kit Schmidt, all I need is wicks. That's all right. Just get the kit for $10 or whatever it was, plus or minus 2. So it came. The wick kit came yesterday. I got a hold of this cylinder. You can see this, stainless steel. I mean, the lighting is such that I have it exposed. My camera, I have the exposure set for the flame itself, which is kind of nice. There's the wick in the wax. Yeah, I was clawing around in there looking for the wick. You're wondering why the surface is all loused up. Yeah. So I had this candle sitting next to my countertop ice maker, and it was blowing warm air on the outside of that stainless steel container, for a couple hours. Unbeknownst to me, not on purpose, that thing ended up there next to the ice maker. And the outflow of the warm air was gently blowing on this stainless steel thing with the wax and the wick. And it softened up the wax all the way around because the conductivity of the heat went all the way around, and the entire container was basically the same warm temperature. And the wax kind of pulled in a little bit from the stainless steel. And I turned it upside down and the whole wax thing came out. And there was the wick, all coiled up in the bottom of the thing. Well, how the hell are you supposed to light a wick that's not... In other words, it wasn't, the wick is supposed to stand up straight, so the wick was coiled up in the bottom of that thing. So this small batch hand-poured wick stuff, what? What? How does that work? I'm having to dig for the wick. Anyway, so... Since the wax was just falling out of there, it had a perfect cylinder of wax. So I just, I had like a barbecue thing where you put the onions and the tomatoes and this, on the skewer thing, and you put it on the grill. So I have a stainless steel skewer that's in my little kit of things over here behind the ice maker. And I said, hey, I'll just poke a hole in this with this skewer thing and twist it around a little bit. Then I'll take this wick, this nice white wick, and I'll stick it in there, and then just drop the wax back in there. And then I will squeeze the wax all the way around. Push the, so the wick is now embedded in the wax. And then I gave it, like a 3/4 inch top, then cut the wick, and then put it in the refrigerator. So I squeezed the wax, put it all down, and I put it in the refrigerator overnight. Just to chill that wax, harden up that wax around the wick. Yep, and that's my wick story. So we're ready to replace candles that have burned out where the wick is missing. So you can always just push a hole through the wax. You don't have to take the wax out of a container. Whatever the situation is, you can just poke a hole in the candle and insert a wick, cut it to the desired length, which means a 1/2 inch longer than the total depth of the candle at that moment. And then with a candle, you can just drip the wax all the way around the wick that you just inserted. Or you can just push, if the wax is soft, you can just push it down. This wax is very soft. But when you put it in the refrigerator, it solidifies just fine. So Lyle's answering me back. He sent me a picture of him and his wife standing by or in front of a Christmas tree. Sent it to me and said, hey, Merry Christmas to you all and have a good night. So the hand drawing of this device as it's flying, you can you can just grab it. Grab it. Well, so save that, that's like a $12 candle or something. It's big, anytime you get 2-3 pounds of wax in the container that's like this, it's probably a $15 candle. It just didn't have a wick. Well, there's no wick in there. See if you can find it. So I'm digging around. I couldn't find a wick. And the wick was never expanded and pulled through, so anyway, you're ready to turn around. Anyway, so that's the wick story. So I sent Marilyn a copy of the candle burning and said, that problem has been solved. Yeah, we talked about the A5 chip yesterday. So here, some people look at this little compact phone. It's an iPhone. You can see the characteristic icons for the different items, like the phone and the contacts and so forth. Right there, you can see it. And it slips right in a little tiny key pocket. So if you want a little tiny phone and you don't want to do anything else with your phone, these little doodads are pretty good. $85, you can have one of your very own. Now you're going to pay for just for your personal use. That's good. So if you get one, you have to, get another phone number or something or other. Your private, super fragilistic private number that you never give out to anybody except your very close associates, and say, this is my private line. Kindly do not give it to anybody, and it's for your use only. My private line. Be free to call, but don't give this number out to anybody. So that's the kind of number anyway, so you want your regular phone number on something like that, then you can turn off your phone number on these other devices. And inform AT&T that you have switched the phone number to this alternate device. There's some people that I know that's all they want. I have to say that I'm the opposite of that. I mean, I can see the benefit of that. If I could have my one phone number to be used by both devices, I'd be okay with it. But I don't want another phone number, 416-1100 is the number. I had a whole string of numbers that were in the same tranche. I had 416-1100. I had 416-1112, 1113, and 1114. I used 1114 for my fax number, and 13 and 12 I think was for each of the boys. I retained 416-1100. 1110 was not available. So 1110, 1110 was used by somebody. 1100 was open. How about that? I mean, I grabbed these phone numbers. I got a notification. I'm not so sure why I got the notification or what I had to do to turn it on. I don't recall why AT&T told me we are now opening up the 416-1100 gateway for your devices. Which number would you like to have? So I dropped everything and got right to the AT&T. I said, lock up 416-1100. I'll be right there with a permission slip, whatever the heck you would need. Note from your mother. Yeah. So, there was a time where your phone number could be shared between several devices. I think that's the term they used. Share. We're going to share your number with somebody else. And then, if someone calls you, the second device would not accept direct calls because it's connected with you. So I have a few of these rakes left over. When you live in an apartment like this, it's 1,550 square feet, and there's 22 feet by 5 feet patio. And probably sticks out away from the apartment building like 5 or 6 feet. And then it obviously was down 9 stories. All right, what's going on over here? Okay. All right, I think we're going to, is there anything else I want to tell you? There's a nice story about this I know it's an Indian from India, Bahrain, but he's explaining to people how simple it is to fly this Airbus A380. Huge airplane. And it shows the cockpit. There's the distinctive levers that you push forward to get those fan jets spinning faster and giving you more thrust to, and you have your steering wheel. Use a joystick for the nose. You have a nose cone, open, unlocked, and you can see that the hand the new computer is working properly. Anyway, so this guy was explaining. I'm noticing all these different evaluation items that are coming up with the new computer. It's got 32 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabytes of storage, 32 gigabytes of active live RAM, random access memory, for the computer chip to use in processing signals and processing the video stuff and, all the stuff I'm doing here. It's just, unbelievable. So I've pretty much, in this core of my little studio, I've got a magnificent iPad Pro with an M5 chip in it, and I have this, I'm feeling there's a strip of processing circuits that are up on the top edge here, because I can feel, whoops, I just started it over again. Isn't that interesting? Yep, there we go, started over again. Yeah. So I can feel the warmth. It's like 90 degrees. I actually spot checked it with a infrared thermometer. The kind you'd use to point at an air duct to see how cool the air is coming out of an air duct. I aimed that at the top edge of this computer's predecessor. Yeah. And it was about 92 degrees. The internal, it's 70.0 in the studio, 55% relative humidity. I have no signal from the outdoor sensor. Probably just ran out of battery after. It's been It's been glued up on the window there for about 7 years. 6 years. We spent 10 years in one apartment and 6 years in this one. Well, about 13 total, so maybe it's, 5 and 7, or 6 and 7, maybe 7 years there and 6 years here, making up the 13 years. So there's a little doodad that you put up out of the sun, out of the way of the sun. So it's going to measure the ambient temperature outside the sliding glass doors. And it gives you some kind of reading of the outside. Particularly when the sun is, the sun rises out of the east, we're facing east. So the patio area gets a little toasty. But once the sun is straight up overhead, the patio cools down. Of course, there's no direct sunlight on the patio anytime after about 11:30, actually. So the plants and things that are out on the patio, they get blasted with sun, from 8 until 11, so for 3.5 hours, it's pretty tough going out there. I water, I carry water out there every other day. And it rains a lot, so of course that soaks the plants. I did a little redecorating of our planter thing behind the 2 big wooden chairs in our living room. So it's nice greenery. It's I have a little collection of money trees. And I let them grow up about 6 or 7 feet. And when they just start to touch the ceiling, whoosh, I come by with a pair of shears and cut the sucker in half. Which Mr. Plant doesn't like that. And it, buds pop out, just underneath where you did the cut. And, yeah. Because the root and the whole base of the root ball is, anyway, with the money tree you can do that. And then it'll sprout stuff and get real thick and bushy. And then you can trim those things and that sprouts and gets bushy. So you can have quite a little bushy money tree there. And that's why I have a little green forest in our living room. Blocking the light on 4 feet of the windows anyway. It's nice to have growing greenery in your place. And I spray it with water, periodically with a hand pump spritzer in which I put distilled water. Do not use the city water because it's got all kinds of nastiness in it. They use chemicals to clean the water, and, forget that. And so I use distilled water in the ice. I don't even want city water for my ice cubes. And if you make a tray of ice cubes with city water, I don't care if they come out of the automatic ice maker, our refrigerator went kafooey. So the service techs brought in a new refrigerator. And I said, don't even connect the water line. Turn it off. Turn off. There's going to be no ice maker made. Just turn it off. Because I have these countertop ice makers, in which I fill them with distilled water from jugs of, distilled water. And the ice is like crystal clear. It's unbelievable. Whereas, when you make ice from the city water, it's dingy and has colorations. It's not. They say it's the best water in the city and the best water in the state of Florida. I mean, best. Yike! On a scale of what? Jeez. scale of 1 to 10 and you're 3.7, and you call that the best water there is? No. So, I have a degree in chemistry. Sorry to say. So, they don't send, 20 years ago they used to, make the brochure, they actually print a brochure right when the internet came out, and then they have it on their site somewhere. So you click a button and you could see the water report, the hydrology report that they would send to Tallahassee, and Tallahassee would then send it to, it's the Florida laboratory would send it to Tallahassee, and Tallahassee would then send it to Washington, D.C., because that water treatment plant is subject to federal regulation. So, government officials keep an eye on that water treatment facility to make sure it's in compliance. And then when water gets pumped out of the ground, a mile away, all the way around, to see if the water treatment arrangement is working properly, and to make sure that there's no leakage, of some of the chemicals that are used to, quote, purify the water. I use that term in quotation marks. In my studio, that's in quotation marks. Everything gets diminutive here, As I get older, things get smaller and smaller. Yeah. Anyway, so now when you try to find the water report, when you go to the city of Boca Raton, you got to dig through the menu of the sub-menu of the, it is deep down in a corner somewhere in their website. You can finally see the report, and I read it, and it's right on the edge of terrible. But it is in with federal guidelines. And you know why those guidelines haven't been changed? Now I'm going to see what old Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does about it, who's, into all this health and safety stuff, because the water's terrible. Spoken from a person that actually has, an advanced degree in chemistry, I would call it. Yeah. Pre-med student, so I know a lot of biochemistry. Hold on a minute. Oops, my wife had me put her watch on my super fast watch charger I have over here that Apple has produced a 20 watt. What? 20 watt? It's a little magnetic thing that fits on the back of the watch and gives you 20 watts of charging capability instead of like 7. So the watch, charges 2 or 3 times faster on this little doodad. This thing right here. I have black tape on it so that it's not quite as slick. And it has a magnetic thing, so it's just sticking on there. And you pull that off and put it on the watch. But in the meantime, it has like a little parking station right there. Right over here in the corner, you can see it. That's right there. Right at the end of my fingertip. Yeah. This wire's coming up and so forth. There's a little wire. This wire goes back behind the computer and up in there. This wire goes over here to that device. All right. Where's the one? Yeah, here's the flat wire. I pull that out, then you can't hear me. maybe that's an advantage. Yeah, that's my soundboard right here. Over here on the side, you can't actually see it. It's right over here. So it comes right over here and get out of the camera view. I should have a little mirror here so I can like reflect back and you can see that. Yeah, I will attempt to find. I don't have a little. You know what? Hold on a second. Marilyn. Oops. Marilyn had a little mirror over there where she puts on her, decorates her lips and her eyes and all that. But I can't find it. I can't see it. So I'll try to find a little mirror. So I can just reflect back to show you the soundboard. It's really quite good. Yeah, got this little testing device here that tells me how many there we go. Got some kind of yeah. Get that out of the way. That's better. That device is being energized with 8.97 volts at 0.66 amps. That's what this Rodecaster Duo. So it can handle two inputs. This one input is the microphone itself, the SM7B, and the other input is I'm actually playing a song that's downloaded, this Epidemic Sound instrumental, and then it's coming out of this earphone plug thing, which I have. You can see this wire is connected and plugs in there. It comes around underneath the computer, comes back up here, and it goes back into the soundboard, so I can control the volume of Epidemic right with this little slider, and I can control the volume of my voice with this first slider. So channel 1 is the microphone, and channel 2 is Epidemic Sound instrumental, because I've taken that sound from this place and brought it back around and back and into the soundboard, because then this gets pumped into my Ecamm Live software, which is the software that's handling the streaming into the internet. This is a live stream. It is a simulcast on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Facebook gets a little flaky from time to time, so sometimes it drops off. But YouTube Live is solid as a rock. That rarely drops. The internet has to get very flaky for it to drop off with a live broadcast. But Facebook, maybe just because it's so many users of Facebook, I don't know. There's something that's not the same as far as the quality of the service, as far as streaming, and YouTube has got it beat because it hardly ever drops out, and X drops out so often I don't even connect it. It used to be a simulcast on all three of them, and I've just I just wanted to make sure I could get these two. Maybe I'll try to go up on Twitter also, starting tomorrow, or Monday if I broadcast. I don't know if I'll broadcast tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. If Marilyn goes to bed early and I'm still up, I may have a late night broadcast. Or if she wants to sleep in until 11 tomorrow morning, maybe this is Saturday, maybe I'll have an early morning broadcast tomorrow. We'll just see how that works. Or not at all, I'll just do it Monday. That could be. Monday is a fun day. Let's take this little black thing, put it right there. There we go, that makes it, covers up, makes a nice little, this is a little silicone piece. That's like, it has a flat black silicone kind of material. And there was no need for this. This is what would connect at the wall for a video camera that's working in my living room. So it's like an extra piece. So I can't throw anything away. Yeah, when you get over 70, you don't throw anything away. You save every damn thing. So you got everything. I mean, you throw away trash, but this little doodad is, it's got like a weighted base and a little clip on top. So if you were going to solder two little pieces of something and you needed something to grab her, this would grab on and hold it for it. It's like your third arm. Yeah, it's like a third finger right there. So instead of having, so if, you got two sets of these, right? Well, here's a third one. You see, yeah, clip, clip, clip. So this is hanging here. I could put one of these coasters on here. Let's see how that would work. Yeah, it'll hold the coaster. I don't know why I'd want to do that, but there's a coaster that was in one of the featured places we went to. I don't think. Do we really want to hold up that coaster? I don't know. That's pretty weird. This is when we were in the Disney Studios thing, which is like a little theme park. It's all Disney Studio movie making, and they have the Star Wars over here, and they got different attractions that have to do with various Disney featured movies, and they have a couple of new ones that they're working on, which they were getting ready to open up, but they weren't open Thanksgiving weekend. Boy, I'll tell you, we walked our asses off. And I finally wore out. After the third day, I was like, gasping I was like a guppy out of water. my gills were, feed me. So on the way out of Disney Studios, we just stopped walking for a minute. We're just exiting the Disney Studio. We're right at the point where when you go, you can't come back without using another ticket, whatever. If you have a park hopper, you can go back and forth. But if you buy an entryway, you get in. Once you're out, you're out. You can't get back in unless you have, an entry pass. And then, of course, if it's a 3-day pass, then all of a sudden now you have 2 days left instead of 3 days. Anyway, so right at that point, there's like security guards and, a couple of wheelchairs and, some people checking purses for people coming in. So it was like a security checkpoint. And everybody walks by that to get to their bus or their car, their parking lot, their tram ride out to the parking lots that are, thousands of feet away. You don't want to walk that. You wait for a tram, you know. Of course, everything is tram. Well, we didn't tram it, and we didn't drive it. And so we wanted to get it like an Uber or a cab. Just get a cab back to the hotel. Forget all this trammy, whammy, you know. By the time you go through all that, it's another half a day, you know. So just get yourself a cab. It costs you $24, and the hell with it. Just get to your hotel, which is what we did. But I just, you know, I just ran out of horsepower in my leg. I said, I said, Mel, why don't you go over to that security guard guy and see if we can borrow that wheelchair, and I'll sit in there and you can just push me over there to get to where the cab thing is. I think it's way over that way, but I don't, you know, I'm going to have to go pretty slow to get there. So why don't you let me sit in this thing, and you push me if they'll let you. There was like 9 or 10 wheelchairs all like huddled over in a certain area and under the tent and the exit thingy for Disney Studios. And so the security, I said, yeah, absolutely, you can grab the wheelchair. That's what they're here for. I said, holy crap. I guess I'm not the only one that ran out of legs. So she pushed me. The sweet thing pushed. I sat down that thing. She said, you know, it's not hard. It's real easy to push. I said, well, I'm really glad it's easy to push, because it's a lot easier than me walking, I can tell you that. So I ran out of legs, and she had push power left in her, so she pushed. And we, you know, got over to where the cab, you know, section was, which was, you know, like a 3/4 of a mile away. And she just pushed me in. It's all cement and everything, so, you know, sidewalks and cement, big, huge sidewalks. You know, it's like, it's Disney, right? You've got all these thousands, tens of thousands of people that are coming and going. Well, we were going at about 4 p.m., and we found ourselves a cab and rode back to the Hyatt Grand Cypress Hotel, which is magnificent. We were actually stayed at the Hyatt Grand Cypress Hotel 40 years ago. Can you imagine? 40. That's a lot of goddamn years. The hotel looks exactly the same. And it is clean as a whistle. You would think the thing was built, you know, like 3 years ago. You know, or 0 years ago. I mean, it looked like it was a brand spanking new hotel. It was spectacular in every way. The glass doors were perfectly cleaned and polished. You know, the chrome handles were perfectly cleaned and polished. You wouldn't have a clue that place was 40 or 50 years old. When we stayed in it, it wasn't brand new. It was, you know, relatively new because it was 40 years ago and Disney didn't open, you know, maybe 50 years ago. I don't want to figure that out right now, but anyway. So we did the Hyatt Grand Cypress. We decided to stay back in the same hotel, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was really a very, and they had, you know, this big macaw bird, you know, on a bird perch. Same perch that's been there for 40 years. A different bird. This is the second bird, and this macaw has been there for 24 years. Instead of renting the bird, I talked to the bird guy. He had it on his arm or his hand or something or other when we were walking out one morning. It was just standing there chatting with the fella and talking about the bird, and we had a parrot at one point. Anyway, so we talked about the macaw, and his name was Mo or something, and we asked about the bird, and is this the same bird that was there 40 years ago? He said, no. He said, we've had this one. We decided instead of, because we kind of like rented the bird from a bird company, like an aviary, where they rented the bird for X number of dollars a month, and a bird person would come out and, make sure it was cared for properly and groomed, whatever you do to a bird, and the proper feeding and all that kind of stuff, and to instruct the staff on how to deal with and handle the bird, or maybe the rent-a-bird service. I don't know what they called it. I'm just going to say that. Maybe the rent-a-bird service, But anyway, they decided 24 years ago, the management of the hotel, let's just get ourselves a macaw. We know how to do it because we've been doing it for 15 years or 20 years. Let's just get our own bird and take care of it ourselves. So they said, we've had this bird here for 24 years and taking care of it and feeding it and this and that, and I'm taking care of it right now, and then someone else will take care of it, in 4 or 5 hours, and then there's a third person that'll put it, there's a place where they put the bird at night, where it's covered and quiet, so that the bird can take a nap. And then in the morning at 7 in the morning, it's probably like 7:30, because I got out there at 6 one morning and there was no bird. The day we left the hotel, I tried to put a charge, get my car to charge, and the hotel, they had like 4 charging spaces for charging a car, but it was like a charge point thing, and I couldn't figure out how to, I swiped the card and I couldn't get it to turn on, and I was looking at the buttons, and the captions for the buttons were either not clear or worn off. I pushed every button there was. There were 4 buttons and a place where you tap your card, or you could insert your card, or you could tap it. But I tapped it and it said, thank you very much, and I couldn't get it to start. I had it all plugged into the car and this and that, and it just never seemed to start. Maybe there was something I had to do inside my car, inside the Tesla, like start charging or something. But I thought it just didn't happen. That's why I got up at 6. I was up at 6:30, so I figured, well, let's get my car from the valet guy and connect it up to this charging thing, and couldn't get it to work. It wasn't a Tesla charger. It was a charge point. I had the adapter. I plugged it in, because the nozzle they had for the electric was, that J21880 or whatever, which is what other electric car companies decided to use, like in Europe. So ChargePoint decided to use that as their beginning point, and then they had an adapter that would fit into the Tesla. Now we can since we're talking about charging cars, sooner or later you're going to have an electric car. It may be later, but not by force. You'll like it. But we went electric car like 6 years ago. We're on our second Tesla on 3-year leases. Well, I guess it would be 5 years ago. And it was a little wouldn't say risky, but it was, where do you charge and how do you charge? And, it's not gasoline. When you're used to doing something for 20 or 30 years, and then all of a sudden you're plugging it in, how does that work? Well, it works just fine, actually. It's you plug it into, like a dryer circuit. A dryer uses a lot of power, right? So you have this claw that plugs into the socket to energize your electric dryer, right? Well, it's the same. You have a similar kind of a plug to plug in your Tesla. It is very similar to a dryer plug, and it can be a dryer plug. In other words, if you have an extension cord, so to speak, with the 230 volt extension cord, it can have a dryer plug on it, and then you run that right out to your Tesla, and then plug that into your car, into the Tesla. So if you don't want to run a separate circuit, you just plug your Tesla into the dryer circuit. That's a 50 amp. It's usually 30 or 50 amp, 230 volt service. That's all you need. That'll charge your car overnight. And then every day you leave in the morning, you got a full tank. I don't like to use the word battery because, I try to use nomenclature that's common to both devices, right? You're going to energize the vehicle either with a hydrocarbon, which is known as isooctane, which is also known as gasoline. So you're going to energize your vehicle by filling up your tank with an aromatic hydrocarbon. How about that? Or you can fill up your tank with kilowatts of electricity. Thousands of watts of electricity. That's voltage and amps. Yeah. So you either fill up the tank with electric energy, or you fill up the tank with liquid hydrocarbons, aromatic hydrocarbons, also known as isooctane, also known as gasoline. Yeah. So, using that kind of terminology, so you're thinking about, all right, I'm going to fill up my tank with electricity. Where do I get the electricity from? Well, it just so happens that in the wisdom of Elon Musk and Tesla, they have been building. They build. It's not a finished project. They have energized the North America with like 24,000 places you can plug in. Now these are Tesla, what he calls superchargers, which are like 250,000 watt. In other words, very high energy. When you put that plug in, the side of the car, the cable is this thick. It's about as thick as the hose that's pumping isooctane into your gas tank. It's about that thick. It's not quite. It's the thinner version of a gas hose. Because some of those hoses are really. It's not that big around. It's like 1 inch diameter. That's a pretty big cord. That's not like an extension cord that you plug your TV in. This is a heavy duty, 230 volt, 100 amp service. You're plugging that into your car. Now the actual charger, like you have a charger to charge your computer when you have your laptop, and then you have a charger that you pull out and you plug that into the wall, and that has, the 120 volts that plugs into a little box, and the little wire comes out of the box, and then you attach that to your computer. Well, that thingy, that little box, is the charger. Okay, you plug that into the wall, which is 120 volts at like 15 amps, and then that energizes this little box. And then there's a little wire that comes out of that box that comes out at 15 volts or 9 volts or whatever your computer voltage your battery is in your laptop. But the little box is the charger. Okay, well, so where's the charger, with the electric car? It's in the car. So, I was talking to some people that were talking about, did you plug in your charger? They're thinking the wire is the charger. No. So I was explaining this to, one of the people that are using our port in our garage. And I said that, this wire takes 230 volts and puts it in to the input of the car. The actual charger box, there's two of them inside your Tesla. There's two of them. It takes the voltage and splits it and charges each, half of the battery. So instead of just one charger charging one battery, the battery in the Tesla, the actual cells are divided up into 14 packs. And there's 200 and something cells in each pack. There's 14 packs. Each pack produces 25 volts. And if you multiply 25 by 14, what do you get? 350. How about that? Because the electric batteries, the high voltage electric system in a Tesla is a 350 volt system. So they're throwing 350 volts DC at high amp into those motors. And you have a motor in the front and a motor in the rear. So you basically have 350 volt DC service from the batteries that's driving your motors. Now, so what's happening when you charge the car? Well, they're splitting that in half. So there are two separate chargers in your car. Just screwed up against the wall somewhere inside the internals of your car, behind the trunk, or near the floorboard, behind or under the trunk area. So the wires, so when you plug the hose, which is a plug, into the side of your Tesla, that energy is then getting split in half and energizing two separate charging boxes. Instead of, like the little black ones, they're about this big and they're, encased in aluminum, I think. And those two chargers, have fins on them. They're screwed onto the body of the car, to hold them stationary. And then the voltage that is coming through the thing you plug in the side of the car is then distributed to these two chargers, and each charger charges half of the battery, and the other charger charges the other half of the battery. That's how that works. Instead of one charger charging the whole battery, they have two chargers. One charges these 7 modules, and the other charger charges the other 7 modules, because there are 14 25 volt modules. So the charger, that's how that works. And then those 14 packets, when they're connected together in series, you add 14 times 25, and you end up with 350 volts. DC, which runs the DC motors. Yeah. Now it's, then there's control circuitry on how the motors are energized. And it's done on a frequency basis. Yeah, they deal with the DC voltage, and it energizes the motors with the frequency. And when they change the frequency, it increases the power in the motor. And I can't give you a detailed explanation of that because I don't know it. It's complicated. I know that it's not simple. I know how the battery works, and I know the modules, and I know there are about 210 cells per module, and there are 14 of them. Now you can multiply that out. Let's just do that for the heck of it. So if you got 14 modules times like 200 cells in each module, you got 2,800 cells in there that are connected up in parallel and series. But those 200 cells in the module, the output voltage is 25 volts. Yeah, each cell is, they're like 3.7 volts per cell. They're not 1.5 volt cells like your normal AA battery or D battery, C battery, like you find in a flashlight. Those are 1.5 volts. So you stack two of them together, and then you got 3 volts. You stack 3 of them together, and you got 4.5 volts. Well, the lithium-ion battery is actually a 3.5 volts. So if you have 2 of them stacked, it's 7 volts, or 7.2 actually. Yeah. So, and that's the cell they use, the 14650 cell is a standard battery that they've been using in what they call torches. Flashlight. We call them flashlights over here. They call them torches. You walk around with a torch, a flame in the cave. That's a torch to me. A flashlight is something that's electric, that has a battery. Anyway, so the Tesla, it was curious, switching your mindset into where you could get your Tesla charged up. And it's not, once you, in a week, you got that all worked out. And it's not a problem after about 5 or 6 days. And you've charged your car 2 or 3 times. Well, this is no big deal. And it is no big deal. And it's a lot cleaner plugging into an electric charging place because you don't have that, that hydrocarbon smell. Everything's like oily and greasy, and, hydrocarbons, that's why they call them aromatic hydrocarbons, because they emit fumes into the air. You can smell the fumes, so to speak. And, it's like everything you touch could start on fire. I mean, it's, the gas stations are fire hazards. You got open hoses of gasoline, my God. You light the gasoline up, and, you can light yourself on fire. Yeah, and some assholes sitting there filling up their trucks and is smoking cigarettes. I mean, you talk about wanting to blow yourself up. I mean, I've screamed across the way, get rid of that goddamn cigarette. What the fuck's the matter with you? It's a gas station. Well, sometimes those guys are bigger than you. Better have a weapon. You scream at them and then lock yourself in your car and drive off. Yeah, you don't want to be in a gas station where someone is fueling their vehicle and they're smoking a cigarette. There can't be anything that is more dangerous. That's an explosive situation, potentially. Yeah. All right. I'm looking at my Funkin' Wagnall here, and it says it is 12 o'clock and 54 seconds. I see it right over. Where is it? Right over here. We should get my boom out of the way. You see, 12:01, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the real time, by the way. And we're going to call it a day. We're going to call it noon. Marilyn is, she hasn't checked in yet, but she's probably walking back. She's at Nails R Us for her 10 o'clock nail appointment on Saturday, every other Saturday. She missed last Saturday because we were in Disney walking around. Saturday, my God, we were in Animal Kingdom. So she pushed her nail appointment to this week. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah. And the computer is working just perfectly. This replacement one is working just perfectly. I tell you what, Apple produces some magnificent stuff. You know, the technology is just superb. And the iPad with this keyboard, this is like a portable touchscreen computer with an M5 chip. Jeez, I didn't realize it had. This one I got. One of my other iPads, it was another one. The battery failed. I couldn't put a charge on it, no matter what I did. You know, I pushed this button, that button, all the things that you try to do to get your thing to charge. Wouldn't take a charge and wouldn't turn on. I called up the insurance company. You know, you pay $6 a month for insurance. I said, my iPad's dead. They said, you know, they checked it out, looked at, you know, what's your password, and they said, we'll send you another one. They overnighted it because I called them before 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock. You know, I called them like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They said, well, you caught us so I can get this thing. I'm going to ship it out overnight. You'll have it tomorrow morning by 10 a.m. And you just pack up the device you have, send it back to us. You send it in the box. We're sending you a computer overnight. Just put yours in that box and send it back to us. We'll have the UPS ticket right in there. You just seal it up with some tape, put the sticker on the outside, and send us back the dead one. And you can't erase it or anything because it's already broken. So, it was a battery problem. So what I did is, before I put it in the box and sent it back to them, I stepped on it. I made sure they couldn't get it started again because I have all kinds of data in there. And I didn't want them to fix the battery and then have all my data in there. So I figured, let's put a little crunch on this so that no one can get to my data. So I put a bend on it. The guy in the Apple store told me that. He says, don't just send these things back. You know, if you can't get them started, or, you know, there's some kind of fatal error, the memory chips in there have all your data. And when you turn it off, the data doesn't go away. The data sits there waiting for you to turn it back on again. So you got to kill the data or kill the device. So I jumped on it. I put the iPad on the edge of like a book, and then I jumped on top of it, sort of. Not from heights, you know, I just put both feet on it and gave it a little jump, and it put a bend in it, cracked the screen and all that. Actually, when I called the insurance, I said I dropped it off the balcony and it got a bit, or it rode over. Someone stepped on it. That's what I told him, which is true. I did step on it. I gave it a little push to make. You want to make sure it's dead. You know, you don't want to have it injured. You want it dead. You don't want it fixable. And according to Apple, if there's a bend on it, then the circuit board inside is probably ruined. The screen is ruined. The case is bent. They can't unbend it. You know, so they just, it's, the unit is a throwaway. That's all. That's what you pay the insurance premium for, to protect yourself in case the thing dies. But if it dies, you got to make sure it's dead. That's what the Apple guy told me. Just, don't send it in, clean as a whistle, like you're doing them a favor, because, they're probably going to pitch it anyway, but you want to make sure they pitch it. You don't want to fix it and have your data in there, because then bad guys can get to the data and, empty out your checkbooks in case you have any bank information in there. So you want to make sure if your device is going to die, that it's not breathing. All right, I gave you that 7-minute little talk about how to kill your iPad. Same thing with iPhones, whatever. Any technology that has your personal information in, and you're giving it back to the company so they can do something with it. Now, if it's a repair that Apple, for example, could do in their store, you stand there and wait for them, and then they bring it back out, and it's magically works with some of their special software tools they have to bring some of these devices back to life, if you will. That's one thing. But, if they're going to send it off somewhere, hold on a second, sir. Let's just see. Let's reevaluate how we're going to deal with this. I said, if you're going to give me another one, then let's get that going. But we got to make sure this thing is emptied out, because I can't kill the information because I can't get it started. So if it's truly defective, let's kill all my information that I have in there. Anyway, that's just, food for thought. Just want you to think. My neighbor worked for IBM, and on his desk at home, he was an IBM executive. Now, Tommy was his son, and I used to play with Tommy. As a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old, whatever. You go out and play. Let's say, I'm playing with Tommy. Running around, riding bikes, this and that. What little 10-year-olds do. Anyway, his father worked for IBM. He was a systems engineer with IBM. That's what his father did. So on his desk in his house was a sign, and it just said, think. THINK. That was like their motto. Every employee in IBM had a sign on their desk that said, think. On the other side of that sign, it was like a triangular-shaped piece of wood. It was think embossed in brass or something on the side of the sign, and on the other side, it had your name and your title. Thomas A. Gilbert, systems engineer, vice president, whatever the hell his title was. But the other part of that triangular sign had think on it. Yep. So I always think about things. And Thomas A. Gilbert's death sign just got me thinking. There you go. You understand that. That's what Apple was trying to get their employees to do. Think before you do anything. All right, I'm gonna get Marilyn's. I don't know. She usually checks in with I got the doors closed off here, so we have a closed off studio. And time's up. She'll be walking in any minute. And I'm gonna say goodbye for today. And I wish you have a great weekend. And I might check in with you tomorrow, Monday for certain. Bye-bye.